My husband's brother, 35, his wife, 26, and two boys, preschooler and toddler, moved in with me and my husband, both 30, last month because they got evicted. I never wanted them here in the first place due to past issues, but after speaking with my husband, we decided to give them a place to stay for the sake of the young children. Before they moved in, we set some ground rules, such as my brother-in-law must be actively job searching, respect our space and clean up after themselves. Unfortunately, in the past month, they've begun slowly destroying my home and space without caring one bit. First of all, my sister-in-law is an extremely picky eater, so their family doesn't eat with us. Fine, but they never clean up after themselves, constantly leaving dirty dishes, pans, crumbs and food stains. When I tell them to clean after themselves, they begrudgingly do, but it's never a job well done. Last week, one of the boys had peed on my very expensive couch, which I only learned about after smelling urine while watching TV. Sister-in-law is stay-at-home, but she's more like stay in her room doing God knows what while her two children run rampant around my house. In the last 3 weeks, her boys have 1. Coloured on their bedroom walls, 2. Trashed my living room with their toys, 3. Knocked over half of my plant collection. Their whole family has turned my house into a damn zoo while contributing nothing. I've not been able to comfortably live in my own space for the past few weeks. My husband sensed my frustration, so he told me he'd talk with them and hire a maid to clean our house. Things got a little better until yesterday. I got home early from work and their family was gone. Good, peace and quiet for a few hours. I decide to go and take a nap in our bedroom, only to find out that my precious vase that my mother handmade for me was shattered on the ground. I lost my mom when I was a teen, and it's one of the last handmade items I have from her. I immediately knew it was the boys because there were toys inside my room and their tablet was on my bed. I was so angry, I ended up calling my husband, explaining the situation and telling him they would not stay another day in our house, no questions asked. Then I went round the house picking up their dirty clothes, toys, papers, etc. and threw them outside onto our lawn. When they came back, there was a huge confrontation between me and them. I listed all the disrespectful things they'd done and that I wanted them off my property by midnight because they'd met none of the conditions outlined when they first moved in. I called their kids untrained dogs. They screamed back, calling me heartless, cruel and evil, saying I'd make them homeless. Well, they did end up leaving after I threatened to call the cops. My husband is fully on my side, but I can tell he feels a little bad. Mother-in-law called me, upset, asking me to take them back in after I forced them to sleep in their car last night. Am I the idiot? No, you are not the idiot. If mother-in-law is concerned, she can take them or buy a motel room. They've crapped all over your hospitality, and it's no coincidence they were gone when you got home. They knew breaking that vase was going to be bad news. I'm so sorry this happened to you. I can see why they were evicted from their last place. Oh dear. Is there an artisan who might repair the vase or create something from the pieces? Maybe you could use some pieces in a mosaic frame around a pic of you and your mom. I'm so sorry it happened. Mother-in-law can take them in. Being family doesn't entitle anyone to no boundaries and destruction of property. They don't seem capable of managing their lives or making an effort to. They're definitely incapable of managing their lives, never mind raising 2 young children. I've seen enough. And their relationship, oh trust me, that's a whole other story. They actually started dating when sister-in-law was only 19, but were on and off until 29-year-old brother-in-law knocked her up. She has her problems, but brother-in-law definitely took advantage of a vulnerable young woman. Unfortunately though, mother-in-law can't take them in because she lives on the East Coast and we live on the West. I do not want to pay for their bus fare now. Also, mother-in-law is poor and lives in a 1-bedroom apartment my husband bought for her. 0 room for them. I definitely wish she could take them in, but it's very improbable. Mother-in-law is berating you after your husband bought her an apartment. The entitled brother didn't fall far from the tree. Maybe they thought if they made themselves unbearable, they'd get an apartment too. I actually feel sad for the sister-in-law. She probably became a mom when she wasn't ready for it at all. I wouldn't be surprised if your sister-in-law has been depressed for a long time. I, 18 female, have been dating a guy, 21, on and off for around a year, but we made it official 3 months ago and have been monogamous ever since. I've been enjoying my time with him because he's sweet, interesting and cares about me, but he's mad at me now because I rejected his very expensive and nice gift. Basically, last night we were out for dinner and he told me that he had a surprise for me. He pulls out a small jewellery box and shows me a pearl necklace inside. My heart literally dropped. I mean, it was gorgeous, but my first thought was, this must have been a fortune. He explained to me that it was his mom's before she passed away and that his dad gave it to her. I almost cried. I mean, the whole thing was so sweet and meaningful, but I paused and realised that it wasn't appropriate. I panicked momentarily because I didn't want to be rude. I just let him down easily. Of course, I thanked him first and told him it meant a lot, but I told him that since we've only officially been together for 3 months, and since this is such a beautiful and meaningful piece of jewellery that's probably very expensive, I wouldn't feel right taking it. I could lose it or break it and I'd never forgive myself. He looked very hurt and put it away. I felt bad, but he seemed fine the rest of the night. This morning I woke up to a text from him that was pretty detailed. He explained that my rejecting it made him feel unwanted and like I was rejecting him, not just the necklace. I haven't responded, but I'm extremely confused. I mean, yes, I like him and I dig him, but we're not so serious yet that I can accept a very expensive and rich backstory piece of jewellery, right? I feel guilty and don't know how to respond to him. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You guys are a new couple, you don't even know each other yet, or if this relationship is even going to develop, yet he's giving you his late mother's jewellery. To be honest, he sounds weird. He's overly attached after basically no time, and his reaction to this whole thing stinks of emotional immaturity. Obviously, it's up to you if you want to continue, but I'd urge you to reconsider. You can expect some epic mood swings, I think. Yep, this was my first thought too. I think you need to pump the brakes on this relationship a bit. His giving you this gift in the first place was inappropriate. Too much, too soon. However, the bigger problem is his response to your honest feelings and feedback about the gift. He wants you to wear what is essentially a family heirloom, but he doesn't want you to be honest about your feelings if they're at odds with his. At best, he's emotionally immature, but there's also a chance that he's being purposely emotionally manipulative. Yeah, girl, the gift was premature for sure, but I would say the bigger issue was his follow-up. He felt as if you did him wrong, which is crazy, and he wants you to feel bad about it, which is worse. He has a very specific idea of what your relationship should be, and he gets angry when you don't follow the script. This is not a good sign. You're not an actor. You're not a character in a video game with levels to be unlocked through specific actions. I'm a single father to Michael, a tween. My son is not who you would typically imagine when envisioning a preteen boy. He's a fashionista, very into makeup. His friends are all girls and he won't touch sports with a 10-foot pole. And honestly, who cares? He's happy and staying out of trouble. I think that's all that matters. Michael's mother, Daniela, does not like a lot of Michael's interests. She doesn't say it outright, but she does say some passive-aggressive things like how Michael shouldn't have so many female friends at his age, or criticizing me for supporting his more feminine interests. As I mentioned earlier, Michael is a tween. Daniela used to throw a party inviting Michael's class, but Michael just finished 6th grade, so that isn't an option anymore like it was in elementary school. Michael told me that he wanted to go see the Barbie movie with his friends, but that his mom kept insisting she didn't want him to go, so he told her that he didn't want a birthday party anymore. I know I may be an idiot for this, but I took Michael and his friends and deliberately didn't tell Daniela about it. Michael and his friends all had a blast. As I mentioned earlier, Michael is very into makeup, so I got him a Sephora gift card for his main present, since he loves to go there, and I know I probably wouldn't pick out the right thing. Daniela called me a few days ago because she saw the Sephora gift card after Michael pulled out his wallet for something. Michael was honest about the movie's birthday and gift card when Daniela asked him about it. Daniela said we're supposed to be a team in parenting Michael, and accused me of sending mixed messages as a way to spite her by making things with Michael harder for her. She ended up getting family members and even a few of our mutual friends involved, and most of them are not on my side. They said there's nothing wrong with Daniela wanting Michael to branch out with more masculine interests, and they were concerned as Michael has had issues with kids at school wanting to be stupid, and even occasional adults wanting to make immature comments. Anytime I hear about a bullying issue, I talk to Michael's school and have it shut down. I haven't heard about any issues from Michael in a while. I've always told Michael that if he's true to himself, he'll meet good people and find his place. These friends and family members accuse me of living in fantasy land because as much as we say just to be yourself and ignore bullies, Michael's starting 7th grade and bullying will only get worse as the kids become older and stronger, and I'm failing to prepare Michael for a professional world that will not be as open-minded. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Mom doesn't get to play the "we're a parenting team" card when she's parenting her fantasy of your child. He's into makeup. He wanted to see Barbie. That's the son you've got. Daniela can have another baby if she wants to try for one with more masculine interests. Props for supporting your kid. Unfortunately, you are co-parenting with one of your son's bullies. By suggesting he's less than for not having the right friends or interests, it is belittling him. You are the parent who nurtures him as he comes, and that's the most important attribute in a parent imaginable. Keep up the great work. I see why she's your ex. I, 27 male, am getting married in the fall to my fiancée, 25 female, and we've decided that friends and family can bring their kids since, for the most part, the kids are well behaved and will be with the sitter for the night so the parents can enjoy the festivities. The only exception is my cousin Linda's daughter Carrie. Linda's entitled and selfish, and she's made her daughter entitled and selfish. 2 years ago, my other cousin, Linda's sister Lily, got married, and Carrie ruined the wedding by throwing a tantrum and destroying the cake because she was jealous that Lily's daughter was the flower girl. Linda recently called me up to talk and brought up child-free weddings and how terrible they are. Her invitation said nothing about a child-free wedding. It had her and her husband's name on it and no +1 or anything to indicate Carrie could come. I told her I wasn't having a child-free wedding. Carrie wasn't invited because of what happened at Lily's wedding. I don't want a repeat of Carrie seeing she's not the flower girl again and throwing another fit. Linda's since gotten all her friends and the few people in the family who take her side to bombard me, my fiancé, and my family with texts about how selfish we are for purposefully excluding one child. At the same time, everyone else can bring their kids. Edit, Carrie is a tween and was 2 years younger during Lily's wedding. My family is very big on family is everything, family first, and respect your elders. If I'd not invited Linda and her husband at all, the storm would be much bigger, and the majority of my family would be calling me to tell her to invite her. Family is everything, but they're over there bombarding you and calling you all selfish. Your family too. Do they want your wedding ruined? Not the idiot, but uninvite anyone that complained. For real. Excise all this BS. I've never been around anyone who acts like this, and I'm 40. So true. I mean, a kid smashing a wedding cake because they weren't the flower girl. It's actually wild. My mother would have ended me if I'd done something like that, and she was a gentle parent before the concept really existed. Carrie was a tween when she threw her fit, old enough to know better. So she's almost a young teen now with extra fun hormones raging through her system. Be prepared that she may bring Carrie along anyway. In my opinion, you better uninvite her if she's so unhappy about this arrangement. Ugh. Family can be entirely overrated. Like, a good family is great when everyone gets along, looks out for each other and genuinely likes each other. Awesome, love to see it, but you very rarely see it. Half the time it's a bunch of idiots you wouldn't hang out with if you had a choice. Last night I, 23 female, texted and asked my boyfriend, 25, to come down to the basement where my office space and new futon are. He replied, nah, and then asked me to come upstairs to bed. He probably wanted cuddles, but I told him it was important to me, and I wanted him to come to see my new arrangement, new setup in the basement. He didn't reply to my text, so I slept downstairs on the futon. This morning I left without him to work. We work at the same place. He called me and asked me if I'd overslept. He assumed I was still at home in the basement. I said no, I left. He was so shocked that he kept asking me, "Did you leave? You're not at work?" Then I tried to tell him, "I asked you to see something important to me, and you ignored me." He got mad. He said he slept through his alarms. "You really left me? Over that?" Then I tried to tell him again, "I'm mad because I said it was something important to me, but you..." But before I could finish my sentence, he ended the call. How I feel about this at this moment is, if he's too lazy to drive himself, I understand. He has his own car, but if we go to the same place, it makes sense to drive together. But missing your alarms? You're an adult. You should wake yourself up, and if you don't, you'll be late to work. That's on you. Don't rely on me to be your mommy and wake you up and wait for you to get ready. I don't know. I feel bad for hurting his feelings and literally leaving him behind, but at the same time, he's an adult with his own car and job separate from mine. If he's late, that's on him. Why should I have to be late every morning because he can't wake himself up on time? Or vice versa. I don't want to make him late because of me. I felt so much better without the responsibility of taking care of him in the mornings. But now I feel bad. So, am I the idiot for leaving my boyfriend behind while I drove to our workplace in my car? LMAO, is this actually real? You both acted like petulant children. Everyone's the idiot here. He could have taken 2 minutes to look at the basement, but you're the bigger idiot because your reaction to him blowing you off was completely overblown and super petty. It could have cost him a job over a futon in a basement. You are the idiot. You left because you didn't get your way. He didn't hop out of bed to see a room arrangement when you told him to. I'm assuming the room will look like it did last night when you get home today, so it really wasn't urgent or an emergency. The rest of the stuff you just added to justify your own actions, which were petty and, in my opinion, mean-spirited. You apparently have a routine in the morning. You changed it because you were mad. Holy cow, I'd break up with you on the spot. What an insane overreaction to not seeing a stupid futon. You actually slept on a futon simply because your boyfriend dared to fall asleep, or simply keep relaxing before he could haul his tired butt out of bed to go see your setup? Wow. No, it's not your responsibility to be a mommy and wake an adult man every morning. Yes, it is your responsibility to be an adult yourself and be able to differentiate petty grievances from actual reasons to not behave like a person in a couple. Honestly, I'd take the day off work and move out before you got back. I disagree. OP's not the idiot. He's not your child. It's not your job to get him up and ready in the morning. I'd be so embarrassed if I were him. He had all the means to get himself up and get to work. He just likes being mothered. Personally, I'd be done with this relationship. You told him multiple times that this was important to you, and he ignored it. All you did was leave him responsible for himself, and he couldn't even be bothered to listen to why. I'd advise you to move on, as there is clearly a lack of respect here.